Welcome to the dark side of the internet, where every whisper hides a warning and every story has teeth. I'm your guide through the shadows, and tonight we're going somewhere you won't come back the same. Turn off the lights, put your phone close. This is where the nightmare begins.
The Thing at Silver Ash Falls. I grew up about 10 minutes from the boundary of Silver Ash National Park, and getting out there into the fresh air was always my way to clear my head. I've heard other people say that before, but I actually mean it. I don't scare easy. I'm a practical woman, used to being out in nature, used to the quiet. I know the risks: snakes, uneven ground, maybe a stray bear if you're unlucky. But this one autumn afternoon, this one hike, rattled me in a way I can't quite shake. The sky that day was washed out gray, the kind that makes the reds and oranges of the trees almost too vivid, like a painting that doesn't look real. The air smelled like damp earth and rain-rotted leaves. It was perfect hiking weather, cold enough for a light jacket, warm enough that I could stop and just breathe without shivering. I brought my dog, Daisy, with me. She's an 8-year-old rescue mutt, calm as can be. The kind of dog who never barks at chipmunks or deer, who walks beside me like she's pacing herself to my heartbeat. My perfect trail companion. We started around midday, heading toward the waterfall loop. The trail was dry despite the rain earlier in the week. You could already hear the roar of the falls faintly in the distance. By the time we reached the overlook, the whole valley below shimmered with color. Daisy and I stood there for a while, just watching the water tumble down the rocks. It felt peaceful, nobody else around, just the two of us. Then we moved on, toward a smaller, steeper side path that leads to a rock ledge above the main viewpoint. It's not marked on the maps. I'd only been there once before, years back. That's where it started. About halfway to the ledge, Daisy stopped, dead still. Then she growled, a low, guttural sound I'd never heard from her before. I froze. Daisy's not the type to growl at nothing. I looked where she was staring, a patch of ferns and slick moss near the base of the falls. Nothing moved. The mist from the waterfall drifted lazily through the air, catching bits of sunlight, and for a second, it was beautiful. Then Daisy took a single step backward, tail stiff, ears flattened tight against her head. "What is it, girl?" I whispered. She didn't look at me, just trembled. That's when I noticed the shape. At first, I thought it was a person, someone standing in the water, half shrouded by the mist. Human-sized, tall, maybe wearing dark hiking clothes, but something about it was off. The arms were too long, the shoulders too narrow, the head tilted wrong, just slightly to one side, as if the neck was bent at an angle that should have hurt. I blinked, thinking maybe it was just a trick of the spray and light, but then it moved. Not a big movement, just a subtle shift, like it was leaning forward. That's when every instinct in my body screamed, "Leave." I've seen coyotes, foxes, even the occasional black bear. None of them ever made my skin crawl like that. But whatever that thing was, it felt aware, like it was watching me breathe. Daisy whimpered, then pressed against my leg. Her body was rigid. I took a cautious step back. The rocks were slick with moss and water. I didn't want to slip. "Hello?" I called out, half hoping it was a person. Maybe a ranger or a hiker who'd gone off trail. No answer. Just the relentless sound of the falls and the distant echo of rushing water. The thing didn't move. It just stood there. Then, without warning, it turned. Not slowly, not like a person turning to face you. It was like every joint in its body moved at once, too fluid, too smooth, like a marionette being yanked by invisible strings. I still couldn't see a face, just the outline of a head, too long, like it was stretched vertically, and the faint impression of eyes that were too deep in the skull. Then it stepped back. No splash, no sound, just gone, vanished into the mist. My breath hitched. Daisy started barking, high, panicked barks that echoed through the trees. I grabbed her leash and turned, ready to bolt, but I forced myself to look back one more time, and that's when I saw the reflection. Down in the shallow pool near the base of the falls, just where the water gathered before flowing downstream, 2 pinpoints of light glowed faintly on the surface, like eyes, reflecting light that shouldn't have been there. I blinked, and they disappeared. That was all it took. I was done. Daisy yanked at the leash, and I didn't stop her this time. We scrambled back up the rocky slope. I didn't look behind me until we reached the main trail again. The woods were silent except for the faint roar of water behind us. I swear the air felt heavier, like something was holding its breath. By the time we reached the parking area, Daisy was trembling, and I realized my own hands were shaking so hard I could barely get the keys out of my pocket. A couple was unloading their car nearby, probably heading to the falls for an afternoon hike. I wanted to warn them, to tell them not to go that way, but what was I supposed to say? There's something standing at the waterfall? They'd laugh, or worse, they'd go check for themselves. So I said nothing. I've gone back to Silver Ash Falls a few times since then. Same trails, same overlook. I've never seen that shape again, but the rocks where it stood, they're darker now, even when the rest of the ledge is dry. And if you listen closely, on quiet days when the water's low, you can hear something beneath the roar, something that sounds like breathing. Thank you for listening. Until next time, stay safe out there. Subscribe and follow for more.
If you're still here, you made it through the dark. But remember, the stories don't stop just because the video ends. They linger in the corners of your room, in the echo of your mind. So go ahead, turn off the screen, try to sleep. I'll be waiting for the next nightmare to begin.